Okay, so getting right into it today, we're diving into a story. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Hollywood heartbreak.
Yeah.
But like next level.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Michael Madsen
Wow.
filing for divorce.
Right.
Mr. Blonde.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Reservoir Dogs.
it's a
That's right.
it's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, and this isn't your typical Hollywood couple calling it quits.
Right.
You know, this has some really, really tragic layers to it. So we've got this article. It's a news article, pretty recent, and it basically lays out like the groundwork for this whole situation, right?
Okay.
So Madsen and his wife, DeAnna, had been married for like almost 30 years.
Wow.
They're done. They're calling it quits. But here's the thing.
Okay.
He's saying it's her fault because their son committed suicide in 2022.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Hudson. And he's directly blaming her for it in the divorce filing.
Wow. How so?
He's saying neglect, drinking, alcoholism
Oh, wow.
created an environment
Gosh.
that led to their son taking his own life.
So I guess, are these just allegations or is there any...
Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, because it's heavy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, abusive, codependent, toxic. Those are his words describing their marriage.
Wow. And he just straight up out there just blaming her.
Yeah.
Publicly.
And that's the thing. It's like he's not just saying we're getting divorced. He's saying we're getting divorced. And by the way, this is why.
Right.
And it's like.
And it's all her.
It's all her fault. Like I couldn't, stay in this marriage knowing that in his mind, she played a role in their son's death.
I mean, talk about
heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff.
And I mean, how does that, like legally, where does that put them?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I mean, irreconcilable differences. We hear that all the time, right?
Right.
But when you start getting into these very specific and public accusations, that changes things.
It's not just about ending the marriage.
Exactly. It's about blame.
Yeah.
It's about, think about the custody arrangements.
Right. Oh.
They have other kids.
Yeah.
Financial settlements, public perception, everything. It's messy.
Yeah. And is this going to go to court? Is that what we're even looking at here?
Well, it could. And I think that's what makes this so fascinating, is that we're seeing this play out in the public eye.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a car crash you can't look away from, but it's real people's lives.
And then you add, and I don't even know where to, this is another layer, but we have to talk about it.
Okay.
The domestic violence incident.
Oh, right.
Just last month.
Yeah.
Madsen, DeAnna.
Wow.
So
there's a history there of issues.
It adds
even before their son's passing.
Exactly. It's like it was just, something that was already there.
Right.
And then with, obviously the tragedy of their son, it makes everything so much more complicated.
It's like, how do you even begin to untangle that, you know? And then you've got Madsen, right? And he's saying he was wrongfully arrested.
Yeah, wrongfully arrested. The real victim.
It's like, come on.
And this is where it gets really interesting to me, right?
Yeah.
Because we have this image of him.
Mr. Blonde.
Exactly. Mr. Blonde, the tough guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's like our brains don't always know how to reconcile that image with this very real, very human, very messy situation.
Especially with allegations of domestic violence. It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
Yeah. And this is what I find so fascinating. It's like, does fame make it harder to separate the personal from the public?
Yeah. I think so. Especially in a situation like this.
Because we all project our own ideas onto celebrities.
It's true. We build them up in our minds.
And so then when something like this happens, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is real life.
It's a tough reality check. Because I think, especially with Hollywood, there's this tendency to want to believe the best in these people.
Yeah, and it's like, look, I'm not saying she's, completely innocent.
Right.
And he's a monster.
We're just looking at...
But it's complicated.
It's the gray areas.
And I think it's a good reminder that, even the tough guys, they hurt, they grieve, they mess up.
They make mistakes, and they're human.
You're human. This article is just a snapshot.
Yeah.
It's just, a little blip. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors.
We only get the public face, the carefully crafted narrative.
Exactly. And so I guess, it's something to keep in mind. When we see these big headlines, these big accusations, There's always more to the story.
Absolutely. And I think the important thing to remember here is that there are always two sides to every story,
Yeah.
multiple perspectives, and we need to be careful about making judgments based on incomplete information.
And, you know, with a story like this, it's just impossible not to be hooked. Like, where does it go from here? How does this impact his career, her life? It's just, there's so much more to unpack.
And it really makes you think, doesn't it? About the weight of our words, the impact of our actions, and how grief can manifest in unpredictable ways.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here for, to dive deep into these complex situations.
To try and make sense of it all.
Exactly.
Even if there aren't any easy answers.
Even if there aren't. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder this one for yourselves.
On next time.